going exceptionally well for Megan Meyer, who was 13 years old. She had just shed 20 pounds. She had just started the 8th grade where she was on the volleyball team. She finally was about to get her braces off. It was just weeks before her 14th birthday, and best of all, she finally had a boy that liked her. His name was Josh Evans. For 6 weeks, Megan and Josh got acquainted over their MySpace pages. Megan's dad said she was the happiest she had ever been in her life. Megan finally found a boy who thought she was pretty. One day, however, Megan suddenly received a message from Josh saying that he didn't know if he wanted to be friends with her anymore because he heard that she wasn't very nice to her friends. After that, Megan continued to receive troubling messages from Josh, and she also found bulletins were being posted about her, saying Megan Meyer is a slut, Megan Meyer is fat. Later that same night, she received a final message from Josh that said, "You are a bad person, and everybody hates you. Have a shitty rest of your life. The world would be a better place without you." At just 13 years old, Megan hung herself in her closet that night. She died without knowing that Josh Evans was not even a real person. A false MySpace page had been created to make Megan feel like she was liked by a boy and have everyone laugh at her because they knew that it wasn't real. But this prank didn't cause laughs. It caused a suicide. Unfortunately, Megan Meyer is not the only young individual that has a story like this. Several teenagers and even pre-teenagers in the United States have committed suicide due to cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is the newest and easily the most harmful and violent form of bullying, and we must become aware of how to prevent it. Today I would like to share with you what cyberbullying is, how cyberbullying can be prevented, and how you can take action. First, I would like to briefly describe what cyberbullying is and the different ways in which it can take place. According to a survey done by iSafe America, 42% of kids have been bullied while online, 35% of kids have been threatened online, and 53% of kids admit having said meaningful or harmful things to others online. According to StopBullyingNow.com, cyberbullying is defined as an aggressive, intentional act carried out by a group or individual using electronic forms of contact repeatedly and over time against a victim who cannot easily defend him or herself. There are many different things that cyberbullying can involve. The first is sending mean, vulgar, or threatening messages, which, as you heard in Megan Meyer's story, that happened to her. It could also mean posting sensitive or private information and or lies about another person online. It could also be pretending to be someone else in order to make that person look bad, which is obviously what happened to Megan Meyer. It also could include intentionally excluding someone from an online group, say on Facebook or MySpace, not letting somebody into a group that you have created. And lastly, it could be creating a hate group against a person online, which can be found on Facebook a lot. Groups saying things like Megan Meyer is fat or Megan Meyer is a slut. People can cyberbully through emails, instant messaging, which is the most popular form of cyberbullying, through text or picture messaging through cell phones, social networking sites such as MySpace, Facebook, Twitter, and FormSpring, web pages, blogs, chat rooms and discussion groups, and other cyber technologies. Now that you have an understanding of what cyberbullying is, let's examine what you can do to prevent it. Even though cyberbullying can be very malicious, it can luckily be prevented if the necessary steps are taken. First, you need to know the ways to protect yourself from becoming a victim. You should never post or share personal information online. This includes your full name, your address, your phone number, where you go to school, or things like that. You should also never share internet passwords with anyone unless it's a parent or a family member that you can trust. Because if you would give it to one of your friends or if someone that you don't know would find the password, they could sign into your account and start posting things that you wouldn't want to be posted. You should also Google yourself. If you Google yourself, you can find if any websites have your information posted, such as your email or your address or your phone number. And also on Google, you could see if anybody has posted anything about you that has your name in it on Facebook, MySpace, anything like that. And you would be able to see if they have created a hate group against you. And you should also make sure that emails are being sent to the right person. If you want to send a personal message to somebody and accidentally send it to someone else, that person could forward that message to anybody they want, and your personal information would be spread all over the internet. You also need to know the ways to protect your child, if you're a parent, or your younger sibling. You should educate them about cyberbullying. You should let them know the harmful effects that it can have and what could happen to them if they become a cyberbully. You should also keep internet-capable devices in visible parts of the home. It's not a good idea to let a child have internet access through a computer in their bedroom, because if they're looking at websites or being cyberbullied, you would know nothing about it. It's good to have a computer either in your kitchen, your family room, somewhere where there's a lot of traffic going through that you can see what your child is doing. You should also ask your child or younger sibling what groups or activities they're involved in online. You should know if they have a Facebook or MySpace or FormScreen account. And lastly, you can install parental control filtering software or monitoring program, and I have a couple of those listed here. Finally, now that you know the necessary precautions to take, you must know how to take action if you or someone you know falls victim to cyberbullying. For this awful form of bullying to come to an end, you must be willing to stand up for yourself, and you must be willing to stand up for others. First of all, you need to become an advocate for yourself if you become a victim. If possible, you need to block a cyberbully if they are bullying you. On Facebook, instant messaging, that is possible to block somebody from viewing your site. Also, it is very important that you don't respond to the cyberbully. That could only make situations worse. If you don't want to be cyberbullied, don't cyberbully anybody else. You should also save the messages or the pictures that have been sent as evidence. And you can report these incidents to www.wiredsafety.org or www.cyberlawenforcement.org. Also, if people are using violent or inappropriate language on Facebook or MySpace, that may violate the terms and conditions of that website. And if you report that incident, they can either end that person's account or they can send a warning. Also, if the case of cyberbullying is very serious, you can report it to the police or to an attorney. You also need to advocate for others. The most important is to not become an accomplice. Don't pass along harmful messages that you receive from other people or pictures. And don't participate in hate groups or groups that purposefully exclude people, and do not spread rumors. It was because of an accomplice in the Megan Meyer case that led her to suicide. On the right, Ashley Groves, she was an accomplice of the Josh Evans MySpace account and sent the final message to Megan Meyer before she committed suicide. You also need to stand up for others if they are not standing up for themselves. Tell the bully to stop. Tell them to stop sending the messages. Encourage others not to join hate groups or the spreading of rumors. Overall, you should practice the internet golden rule. If you wouldn't want something said about you, then don't say it about anybody else. So let's sum up what we've talked about today. Cyberbullying is a very dangerous and harmful form of bullying, and it can take on many forms and be done by anyone, anywhere, at any time. Luckily, there are several things that you can do to prevent yourself, your child, or your younger sibling from becoming a victim. If you or someone else you know falls victim to cyberbullying, take action. Edward Everett Hale said, "I am only one, but I am one. I cannot do everything, but I can do something, and I will not let what I cannot do interfere with what I can do." You may not be able to end cyberbullying as a whole, but you can end it for yourself, and you can end it for another person. We cannot just sit by and be silent if we see cyberbullying going on. If you believe that what happened to Megan Meyer and so many other individuals in the United States should never happen again, then you must believe that you can make a difference. If you or someone you know falls victim to cyberbullying, I urge you to take action and report the incident.